Justin Cooper, no surprise, was your Monster Energy fastest qualifier today. He actually topped both sessions. He's still trying to get his first overall win of the year. He's had a couple Moto wins over the last few races. Last week was a little under the weather, but you kind of feel like that overall win for him is almost inevitable at some point before this year is over. So much to talk about. Jett Lawrence still leading the points. Joe Shimoda, RJ Hampshire, you mentioned on the top of the show, coming on strong. Also, another pro debut is Gavin Towers today. So a lot of new riders joining the ranks, other riders finding their form as the year goes on. It's the opposite. Normally the field gets weaker as the season goes on.
And we've been adding to it in both classes, actually. We had a couple of factory riders come back as we're sitting here looking down the start here. Long start, not as long as it used to be, but into a sharp 90-degree right-hand corner, and that's it's important to be up front through that corner.
So here we go, first race for 4 hours of coverage here on MAV TV. It's time. That's one of the riders I think Cooper banged into out of the gate, and it's going to be Nate Thrasher and RJ Hampshire. Thrasher is going to grab the motorsport.com Holeshot, but Cooper turns the #1 gate pick into a bad start. He got bumped and banged around, but his teammates in the lead.
Last week's winner, RJ Hampshire, went around the outside of the first corner and was able to put himself into second position there. Had a little bit of a bobble there, but he's able to hold on. We see number 36, Max Vohland, on the factory KTM in third.
Yeah, Vohland making some moves. He got Guillaume Perez, the young rider out of Spain who opened some eyes last week, running in fourth right now in the 109. And then it's Jett Lawrence, your series leader. Look at Vohland. Not seen many good starts out of Max this year, but he's quietly been riding very well, and now we're getting to see what he can do up front.
And the riders, you already see them using the edges of the track, trying to avoid the main ruts with a lot of the bumps in them, and so they're using the extreme left and right, and here they head towards the big monster jump. And there's so many big air jumps out here. It's great for the riders, great for the fans, but it's surprisingly a lot of elevation changes at Ironman Raceway in such a flat part of the country.
Vohland still putting serious heat on Hampshire right now, but so close to the podium a couple times this year, the 36, second-generation rider out of Northern California, and he's in position early today.
Yeah, just passed his father on the way to the TV compound just a little bit ago, Talon Vohland, but surprising. Max qualified 12th, and he's running up front, putting a lot of pressure on last week's winner there, and RJ Hampshire, he's trying to rebound and do a back-to-back. We'll see what happens.
And then how about Fernez, the Spaniard, back there in fourth? I talked to him before this moto. He works a regular job in a grocery store in the winter back in Spain, and he can't race with us next weekend because he has to go back and race in the German Championship as you see Vohland continue to put heat on Hampshire. Fernez rides a KTM overseas. He had never ridden a Yamaha until 2 weeks ago. Got sixth in our first moto last week, running fourth in this moto here. And right there with last week's winner, Hampshire. Oh, and we hear a crash for Michael Moseman. Wow, that was impressive by Vohland. Happened to have Moseman here. He's in the right side. Oh, end over end.
That was my third key to the race for the 250 riders. These guys have to stop doing this. This is immaturity, pushing too hard early in the race. There's a lot of riders who do this in the 250. You just don't see it that often in the 450s. The riders just have more maturity. It's the bottom line.
So, and it's happened to Moseman quite a bit this year. He's had the speed, no doubt. Godzilla, the big uphill triple, and they're keeping Thrasher in sight. You know, I was saying Vohland, we haven't seen many good starts this year. Kind of the same story on Thrasher. I think he's been faster than the results show, but we have not seen him up front like this very often.
Well, we talked about Justin Cooper qualifying. He nearly 1.5 seconds faster than Jett Lawrence, but that Star Racing team, you know, is just packed with so many people that are able to go. Those riders are so fast. They race against each other, and Hayden Deegan, we talked about that, but Thrasher ended up qualifying 5th. Levi Kitchen was 7th, so they have a lot of top riders.
And Lawrence has moved around Perez to get into the #4 spot. Jett Lawrence, your series leader. And somehow Justin Cooper is with him. I don't know how Cooper is able to recover, but he's right there behind his young teammates. So some of the contenders moving back toward the front. But Vohland might be the story right now. He's gotten around Hampshire. He's up to second. It's a coming out party for Vohland we've been waiting for.
It is. I mean, I didn't realize that Max could ride at Ironman Raceway so well. I mean, he's from Sacramento area and, comes out here and is really putting in a fabulous early moto here.
And Nate Thrasher, who's never won a moto in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, leads. See if Vohland can get him down. I don't know how many people had Thrasher and Vohland 1-2 on the bingo card early in this moto. But that's what we keep saying. This 250 field is getting more unpredictable with each week. It usually doesn't go that way.
It's exciting to watch, and it's hard to announce, but it's fun for the fans, and being a fan of the sport like so many other people are, we like to see a lot of mixing it up and a lot of different winners.
Yep. So Thrasher right now, one of 6 riders that they have on that Star Racing Yamaha team right now. We'll show you the pass Vohland around Hampshire here in the box.
Yeah, he just gets a great drive, but he scrubs the jump and just carries a little bit more speed there and comes up into the tree corner. That tree corner is usually the inside line's the fastest rut, but as it gets more dug up, deeper, they start moving around, and we're really seeing that on the track right now. The riders at this point, the track hasn't gotten rough enough to where they can't use the edges, but pretty soon those edges, extreme edges, are going to get rough enough. They're going to have to probably start going back into that deep rut that we just saw on the screen. Those things are 2-3 feet deep, and they're going to get nothing but deeper.
Vohland, by using some different lines, Brock, is closing on Thrasher. We have a battle for the lead now.
This is incredible right now. I mean, Vohland is running. Last lap was a 2:01.9. He's the only rider into the 2:01s. Thrasher did a 2:02.4. So we're going to see right now what happens if he's got that extra half a second. And that half a second is about what we're seeing on the screen.
And we're seeing them pull away from Hampshire, last week's winner. Then it's Jett Lawrence, Cooper, Fedez, Hunter Lawrence 7th, McAdoo, Hamaker, and Shimoda round out the top 10. Vohland has got a bead on the inside. He's trying to get down and make that move.
Yep, being riding in second place here, it gives him the luxury of picking some different lines and seeing where he's faster, or maybe he's not faster than Thrasher. But right here, he's doing what it takes. Look at these lines. You see outside, the great drone cam footage right here. Right here, coming into a right-hander. Max is on the inside of right before the finish line.
Might have it right here. No, Thrasher gets a better drive. That rut really caught Vohland.
Yeah, coming down here is one of the trickier sections on the track here at Ironman Raceway. It's usually very rutted and bumpy, but you're also trying to take a glance over your mechanic's chalkboard to see what he's riding on it. But really, for safety first, I don't think the riders can always see what the mechanics are putting on that board.
Yeah, that's a typical section without trying to look over and read. As for Vohland, it's been around 4th and 5th in a ton of motos this year, I think 5 times, but has not gotten that moto or overall podium. So that's what's on the line right now. No better way to get in the podium than to win it. But same story for Thrasher. Doesn't have a moto podium this year, and now running in the lead. And 7 minutes have quickly clicked off here, and you're not seeing the press coming from either Hampshire or Lawrence. They're all alone.
And I'm not making excuses for Jett Lawrence by any means, but a 37-point lead, this is a track that can reach out and bite you. I'm sure the Honda camp has told him, just take what your start, take what the track gives you, don't push it. You just need to wrap up this championship, and it can come because we see right here his nearest contender, Joe Shimoda, is back in 9th place. So he's well ahead of Joe, and all he needs to gain is an extra, 13 points.
Yeah, that could be half of them right here in this moto. Vohland, as we watch in second. So Jett Lawrence hasn't even led laps in 3 races. Didn't lead laps at Washougal, Unadilla, or Budds Creek. Do you think there's any panic, or is there something wrong there, or is this championship management mode?
Championship management mode, and I don't think there's any panic. And it's what's the over and under on that? Honestly, the over and under on Jett not leading a lap in 3 straight races that was a bit of pretty long odds there. Yep. But we talk about Max Vohland here. Really spent his time, kind of a conservative kid that did not, his dad's tutor, I guess coaching, bringing him up. They didn't spend a lot of time on a supercross track. He rode motocross more, so he does tend to be a little bit better motocross rider. And but remember his coming out party at Fox Raceway where he led for 20-something laps till the bike quit? Yeah, so he's very capable of winning a moto.
Yeah, Vohland had a really rough Monster Energy Supercross season, and he said before this motocross campaign, he's like, we're just going to pretend that didn't even happen. Don't let that drag the confidence down, and he's really accomplished that. Quietly is 6th in the series standing, so it's been a good year for him. And you got to be impressed with Thrasher here also, who's 9th in points. His best moto finish this year, 6th. And he had one of those 6th-place finishes at our second moto last week at Budds Creek. So Thrasher starting to put it together, and Vohland starting to put it together. Still a little surprising to see them 1-2. But if you really look inside the numbers, they have been slowly but surely getting better week in and week out.
Well, and it's just as we say that, as they say, don't look over your shoulder because somebody might be gaining. Jett Lawrence just also turned in a 2:01.7, so that's only 1/10 of a second away from Nate Thrasher's best lap time, and it's coming a little deeper into the race here after lap 5 and I think you're going to see Jett start making a move here forward.
Yeah, he's about 5 seconds off, like you said. Hampshire is lurking, but yes, Jett Lawrence in 4th is definitely closer to Hampshire than he was. We talked about a lot of the young riders in this field late in the season. We'll give you the Beta Motorcycles drone cam to show you that's Ryder DeFrancisco up ahead, and then Hayden Deegan right behind him. That is 12th and 13th. So it's time right now to watch these two kids battle it out. We also have Gavin Towers making his pro debut today. Towers is in 26th. And we might even get another debut next week as Chance Hymas dominated the scouting combine for amateurs yesterday with 1-1 scores, and he's leaving hints that he might turn pro next week at Fox Raceway. So much young talent coming into the pro ranks here late in 2022.
I'd love to have a word with either one of those guys afterwards and say, where was it? What you expected? Was it, did you think you were going to do better or worse, or how was the competition? Because I'm not taking anything away from these guys. They're phenomenal riders dominating the amateur ranks, and they move up to the pros, and they're right here 5 seconds off of the pace, and that's a significant amount.
And now Thrasher has gotten away from Vohland, and Vohland is back into the clutches of Hampshire, and Jett Lawrence is coming with him. Now, Hampshire battled it out last week with Moseman for a bit and then put another charge on. He's done the same here.
Yeah, RJ had just a slight little peek under his shoulder as he could see that red bike and hear that red bike. You can feel that presence, and right there, here comes Jett. So Jett's got the speed there, getting the drive up here towards Godzilla, already putting 3 or 4 bike lengths on RJ. So, again, I think Jett's coming. He wants to take advantage of the fact that Joe Shimoda didn't get a very good start, and he could take a big chunk of points right there on his, help him on his way to the championship.
8th place is Shimoda right now, so it could potentially be in play for Jett to wrap up the title early. He needs to gain 13 points on Shimoda. He's all over Vohland for the number 2 spot. Couldn't get the drive out of the inside of that corner, and Vohland been very good at scrubbing that, keeping it low. That's where he passed Hampshire, and he uses it to hold off the number 1.
Yeah, this is fun to watch right here. I got a chuckle out of when you said something about we're going to, control, alt, delete the Supercross season completely, erase it. And being a golfer, that I try to go with that motto too. They always say that golfers are the ones, best golfers, the one with the bad memories. And I think motocross can say the same thing. You don't want to remember your bad days. You want to just focus on the good stuff.
Yeah, nice rebuild for Vohland. He's been very strong this summer. Just haven't seen him much because of the starts, but now he started up front, and that means you're going to have to deal with the champ, Jett Lawrence. And meanwhile, Nate Thrasher has dropped the hammer. 4-second lead for the Yamaha man up front, so we'll watch his battle for second. And let's send it down to Jason Thomas with more on Thrasher.
Jensen Hendor, team manager for the 250 side of Monster Star Yamaha. Now, Nate Thrasher rips a hole shot. We've seen this happen in Supercross, right? He's got some unexpected wins, and he looks like he's on his way to doing that same thing here at Moto 1 and Ironman.
Yeah, he's riding really good. We did a lot of starts this week. We actually had Mike Alessi come out and help us out with some start technique, and looks like it paid off, so that's great. He's got the speed to run up there, so we're excited to see where it pans out for sure.
Well, the funny thing is that all the hype about Deegan, you've got Justin Cooper, contending for Moto wins week after week, and then it's Nate Thrasher that's stealing the headlines for now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We watched Jett Lawrence just made the move on Max Vohland, but how about the start coach, Mike Alessi, one of the greatest ever? The team brought him in.
I just, both of us, the look we gave each other in the booth there when he said that. That was a tidbit of information. Good job, JT and Jensen, for spilling it.
Well, it's kind of the way Star operates. They leave no stone unturned. They called Mike Alessi, who no longer races at this level, one of the best in the business, and it obviously helped. Now Vohland and Hampshire resumed their battle. Now it's for third because Lawrence has gotten around them, but it is a good fight right now.
Yeah, RJ right there, about to say he's bobbling on the way into the turn. He just about fell down there. But one thing I liked what RJ was doing was he's just taking an alternative line. I mean, you can't follow in these ruts. The chances of Max making a mistake might be 10, 20%, and if he does, then you got around him. If not, at least you're not stuck in behind him.
And then Cooper would be next in line. He would be fifth. There he just goes by on another one of the Yamahas. But Thrasher, now the stopwatch will tell the tale. Can Jett Lawrence track him down for the Moto win as Hampshire and Vohland continue to fight?
So what was it, 3 or 4 laps ago where we saw that Cooper was almost on the rear fender of Jett Lawrence, and now, right, you look on the score, or the timing and scoring here, and Jett's pulled 7-8 seconds on Justin Cooper. So not what Justin Cooper wanted to see, but I'll tell you right now, even though we're seeing
Max on the inside, Brock.
Exactly, making his move right here, and Max might be, I'm a little deflated, but not you shouldn't be. I mean, really, he rode really well. He battled the champ and Jett Lawrence pretty darn hard. He's battling last week's winner really hard. So there's a lot to be taken away from this race by Max Vohland. That's very positive.
And he's not done. He's looking to get Hampshire back, working the inside all the way down that long straightaway.
Yeah, and we saw RJ have a big crash there in practice, right coming out of the first corner, reminiscent of more what you would see on a high side in a Moto GP than motocross, but looks like he's physically recovered and didn't get too banged up.
Yeah, he's up into third now, that Rockstar Husqvarna. You see Lawrence up ahead, and he is rapidly closing. He has what was a almost 5-second deficit to Thrasher, already down to 3.1. So Jett's on a rail to the front.
Well, right now we've got obviously Max Vohland on camera. One thing I like what I see Max does, he picks up the throttle early. He doesn't overcharge the corner. He picks up the throttle early, power slides a little bit on the rear wheel, and it just keeps the front end nice and light, and it's a little easier to steer and not have the front end bouncing around. So he's he like slows the bike a little early, picks up the throttle early, and steers a little bit with the power.
There's Thrasher, your race leader on the 49, halfway home. In 15 minutes, he could save 15% or more on your insurance with a 15-minute phone call to Geico. And now Jett Lawrence looms in the shot.
Yeah, I mean, Thrasher, he knows. I mean, there's no question he's getting the pit board. That it's that number one, Jett Lawrence, is coming. But all you can do at this point, hey, I'm riding as fast as I can. I know I can go fast for 30 minutes plus 2 laps. I do it all week long. I've trained it. I've been doing it for years now. So just focus forward and go. You never know what's going to happen to Jett. You don't have to worry if he's behind you. If he gets you, he gets you. If he doesn't, go get a second.
And as Jason Thomas, our pit reporter, alluded to, this is kind of the script on Thrasher. You won't notice him for weeks. And then all of a sudden, things come together. He had 2 Supercross wins last year in Atlanta, won the Supercross finale this year. So you check in on Hampshire and Vohland. And now a breakout ride for him, leading them around. Cooper is starting to close on Vohland for 4th.
He is. He's using some of that qualifying speed that he has, and he's closing in on the number 36 of Max Vohland. But, I mean, you talk about, Nate Thrasher having this speed just kind of coming out of nowhere. A little inconsistent, of course. But Levi Kitchen popped off a Moto win at Thunder Valley this year. And it's like, has he won another one all year? No, and it's not, he hasn't even been close. So it's that Star Racing group, they've got a lot of guys in the right situation can win.
And now Jett Lawrence in a situation where he can win because he's looking to make the pass on Thrasher. That's where he got Hampshire, and he takes the lead from Thrasher.
That was a great racecraft move right there. Just had a little bit shorter line. Obviously inside line is shorter distance, carried more speed, picked a nice rut there. Good job by Jett, and then he's now got the lead, and we look back and say Shimoda's up to 7th, but again, he could take a big chunk, and I do really think, of course, Jett wants to leave here with the championship wrapped up. He'd like to just go to the Fox Raceway next week and just be able to go there and say, hey, I have nothing to worry about. Championship's already mine.
Take us through it again. We got a different angle. Again, same area. He passed Hampshire, and he makes the move.
Right, just a little bit on his inside shoulder there, and then also cuts to the inside, and you see his ruts just butter smooth there. Pins the throttle. Nothing Thrasher can do. I mean, Jett could take him all the way off the edge.
Let's send it down to JT.
We've been talking about this is the first lap that Jett's going to have led in 3 consecutive races. And, I've talked to his agent, Lucas Murdo. I've talked to people around him, and they all downplay it. They said it's not a big deal. He's got the championship lead. That's all that matters. But I'm telling you, Jett is a racer, and he cares. Like, this is a big deal to him. He knows that. He doesn't want to coast his way to a championship. He wants to win his way to a championship, and I think that's where you're seeing this fire come from.
Yeah, 5th to 1st, and in a short amount of time. It's a nice luxury to be able to just turn it up when you want and go all the way to the front. Battles continue on this racetrack, but right now it's Lawrence leading Thrasher and Hampshire, Vohland, and Justin Cooper. We'll be right back from the Ironman National.
I can't have you just rolling your eyes at us. You got some.
Hey, where are you going? Hey. That's the giveaway bike. Hey, come on.
Hey, we're supposed to put that back in the shop.
Get off that
thing. We're supposed to be riding that thing.
That's the giveaway bike. Come on.
Enter to win at motorsport.com/win.
You have just won 3 championships in a row.
Man, Supercross giving me everything. It's just had such a blast doing it.
And you get it all the way around here.
This past season, it's like I had 7 surgeries in 9 months. I don't want to be put under again.
I don't see the end in sight because, like, dude, what else am I going to do?
That run out, you know?
Unleashed with Dingo and Dale, fueled by Monster Energy.
New CRF 250R. Lighter, faster, stronger.
Ready to help you find your edge.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
Welcome back. Ironman Raceway battle we're watching now is for 5th. Justin Cooper has gotten around Max Vohland, and Vohland here in orange is now under fire from Hunter Lawrence. He's got that yellow shoulders on his gear on the red Honda going after Vohland. Again, this would be for the number 5 spot.
Well, what you're seeing right here is Max Vohland's lap time starting to slip downward. In other words, going slower and slower. His fastest was a 2:01.9. He just turned to 2:07. That's too much of a drop off. You got Hunter Lawrence along with Jett Lawrence both being trained. Johnny O'Mara, great shape. Their lap time variance is about 1 second from their fastest to now.
Here's Hunter.
And Hunter just makes a move right underneath him. So I'm not sure what's going on with Max. You cannot obviously drop 5 and 6 seconds between the early race laps and this lap, 2/3 of the way through the moto. So who knows? It's tough. I never know what's going on in the condition of every rider or how they're feeling. But Max is unfortunately slipping into the grasp of a lot of riders. And here comes the number 30 of Joe Shimoda.
And our first look at Shimoda in this moto. He's mired about 10th for a while. He has now moved up into the number 7 spot. Kitchen is up to 8th, Fedez 9th. McAdoo rounds out the top 10. Here's Shimoda on the inside. Vohland's been able to use the scrub on this jump to hold riders off. Not this time.
No, man, Joe's already on the inside there. You know, we had a pleasure of watching Joe in practice show and watch him ride the ruts. He was very, very, very smooth and fast. And his variance between his fastest lap was a 2:02.3 as his fastest. He did 2:03 flat. So he's got 6.5, 7/10 of a second is the only difference between his fastest and what he just turned last lap. That's what you want to see out of a top rider.
Going after Hunter Lawrence now. This is your battle for second in the points. And we got another battle here as Hampshire has taken second away from Thrasher. So racing and good racing all over this Ironman facility. So Hampshire has taken second. Thrasher still looking for his first podium of the year.
Well, at the 23-minute mark into this race right here, the cream is rising to the top. And this here, Joe Shimoda, Hunter has had some bad races, but he clearly was the second fastest guy early in the season. I don't think you could say that right now. I think you'd have to say Joe Shimoda has surpassed him in the speed in the late in this season here.
And Hunter trying to flip that script, holding off Shimoda, and now going after Cooper. So a 3-rider battle. And these are 3 big hitters in this 250 class. Justin Cooper, Hunter Lawrence, Joe Shimoda. Hunter has responded to the challenge from Shimoda.
Yeah, Justin Cooper's been making his way through the field. And right there, that's the first time he's been under real attack other than early on maybe in the race. But he glanced over his shoulders like, whoa, I got to get in gear here.
Just like Hunter did with Shimoda when the pressure came. He was able to turn it back up, hold him off, and go after Cooper. Oh, we have the wheels on the ground. No jump flag here. How are they supposed to play it on this Godzilla jump? Look at that.
Wow.
2 riders jumped and Shimoda did not.
That's going to be an interesting call right there. It sure came out from what our camera angle was. Came out at like the last second. There's not much you can do. You don't want to be checking up on a 100-foot jump at the last moment. You either go or you don't go.
And Hunter had a look on the inside of Cooper, couldn't quite make it happen. This is a great fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th. A Yamaha, Honda, and a Kawasaki. Oh, and Hunter, great drive into that corner, and that's going to set him up here, and he makes the move.
That looked too easy, didn't it? It's an interesting move. Hunter, you know, we talk about the different riders, and some riders are racers, some guys are qualifiers, whatever it means. No question, Justin Cooper has that extra speed to qualify really well. Great racer, too, don't get me wrong. But Hunter and Joe Shimoda, these guys, the riders, these are the guys that just click off the lap after lap after lap. We talked about the variance being under 1 second for Joe Shimoda. That's what a racer does. He can do it for 30 minutes plus 2 laps, and he doesn't slow way down in the race. And these guys, with the conditions we have today, perfect weather, the heat's not going to be a factor, and these guys are running hard.
Cooper has lost the aggression as you watch as the ETS drone cam. He just yielded to Shimoda. So now Lawrence and Shimoda have gotten by him, and the Lawrence versus Shimoda battle resumes. Very first race of the season, we saw Hunter Lawrence and Shimoda battle down to the last lap. And here they are toward the end of the year, still that close on pace.
It's fun seeing people that know each other very well. They practice, they have the same age, and all these things that, you know, Joe Shimoda's almost Australian, I think. He's probably going to develop an Australian accent. Yeah. But it's fun seeing these guys. They are very comfortable going at each other on the track and hanging out afterwards together. It's what we all love about the sport, and, you know, what we talking about paddock friendships and develop, and this is a fun one to watch.
Well, Brock, you've been hosting the press conferences after the races. You get both Lawrence brothers and Shimoda in there, it becomes a comedy show.
It really does, actually, and it depends on who's the overall winner, because sometimes you kind of would prefer the time that Joe was the winner. He was least in the middle and kind of dividing it, but Joe and particularly Jett, they go at each other. They're more similar in age, and they have a lot of fun together. But you're seeing Justin Cooper. We talked to Justin Cooper. I know he was ill last week. He wasn't at 100% physically, and we don't know. Maybe this is some of the leftover from a week ago. It's hard to say.
Shout out to Levi Kitchen here on the 59, who's moved up to 8th in his return from a wrist injury. Really had a good thing going this season in his first full campaign. Wrist injury slowed him. We mentioned Fedez, the young rider out of Spain, who, as I said, has to go back to Germany next weekend to race a KTM and pursue the German Motocross Championship. He had never ridden a Yamaha until about a week and a half ago.
He's got to be the fastest shelf stocker in any grocery store in all of Spain, right? There's no way. I mean, a racer's a racer, and if he's going to stock shelves in a grocery store or whatever it may be, he's got to do it wide open.
Well, he said he only does it in the wintertime when he's not racing. But I told him, you keep riding like you're riding, you probably won't be back to the grocery store job this winter. And he looked bewildered when I said that. I don't think maybe he realizes it's coming at him quickly. You run top 10 right off the rip, you got a pretty bright future ahead of you.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Oh, no. McAdoo.
No, McAdoo went down there, and let's see if he can get back up, not lose a spot. Didn't even stall it. Good job. It's funny. Personally, when I raced, I never liked idle. I never liked my bike to idle. But these guys with this fuel injection, I mean, these things can lay over on the side. They can turn up the idle a little bit, and they don't stall very often. So it's a big advantage when it doesn't stall, especially with the 4 strokes.
Yeah, you said ruts would be key. And here we go.
Yeah, just as simple. Looks like he got a little bit behind. When you're looking at this right here, it can happen to any of us, no question. But it's really important to focus your eyes through the rut all the way to the end, because when you're going to go where your eyes are looking, and that being the case right there, he started to try to climb out of it, lost his balance, his foot got behind him a little bit, the bike tipped over. But you wonder if he had it all over to do, if he could just look a little further out the rut, he could have maybe ended up where he wanted to be, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, one of the most challenging things in motocross, you got to look where you want to go, not where you are. But it's so hard when that giant rut is in front of you to not stare at that to make sure you don't go down. But we talked about this all the way back at High Point, Brock, round 4. They look so much further down the track than the average or amateur rider.
Absolutely do. And trust me, it was a habit of mine that I fought my whole career, and I think I really didn't realize the importance of it later on until I started racing cars.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Hey, we're going to go back and give you the motosport.com Holeshot replay before this one is over. You're going to see Justin Cooper get bumped and banged around off the start. I believe that's Cooper there. And then you're going to see Vohland and Hampshire going for the lead.
Yeah, I was actually watching Hayden Deegan because he was right next to the doghouse in the middle there. He's kind of in the middle, but yeah, he grabs the Holeshot. Thrasher gets it. But Hayden Deegan was up front there. A lot of Star Racing Yamahas. Imagine that. But, you know, he was right up there. He just was on the shoulder of Lawrence. So
back to this battle with Hunter Lawrence and Joe Shimoda. It is for 4th and 5th on the track, but also every point's going to count. There's only 6 marks between them in the battle for 2nd. And Hunter would like to turn it into a 5-point gap if he can hold Shimoda off. That's the way it would turn out.
Yeah, some of you Ironman watchers, whoa, off the left-hand side, Joe was looking like he was maybe going to exit the track there. But that corner right there is an uphill corner, so it automatically just gravity slows you down. It's one of those companies, you just brush the throttle and just brush the brakes, back off the throttle just a split second and get back on the gas. But that particular corner, if all you Ironman watchers the yesteryear, wow, Joe,
Shimoda,
nice, making a move.
But he's going to be the outside.
Yep.
And Hunter wanted that line as well. He goes all the way over to block it. Or maybe that's just the line he wanted. And either way, the 96 holding off the 30.
Yep. So finishing my thought on that, that corner used to have a lot of sand in it, and they've taken away a lot of that sand. It used to be a real deep sand corner, similar to what you see in some of the Supercross tracks where they add a sand section, but that is now turned into just loam, and they did bring in a lot of wood chips this last week, and we've had amateur racing yesterday, the Moto Combine yesterday. Oh no! Again.
Shimoda down. You don't see that very often.
No.
And that is pivotal. Let's see if he loses some track position here because of that battle for 2nd of the points with Hunter. No, they had a big gap over Cooper, who has faded quite a bit over the last few laps. So he's not going to lose positions. But as far as beating Hunter in this moto, that's going to be a long shot now. And that'll be more points to help Hunter in that battle for 2nd. This is eerily similar to the McAdoo crash.
Yep, very similar, exactly. That's always good to talk about it. But you can see here, Joe comes down the inside. Hard packed corner, but once he hits that berm at the bottom, you see the berm cave away. He kind of drug his peg, and the bike started to slip, trying to climb out the inside of the rut. Those ruts are really, really hard packed, so he just slips away. And you can see there's moisture in the dirt, making it even more slippery.
And Hunter's charge to hold off Shimoda has led him all the way to Thrasher. 3rd place, and he just goes right up the inside and takes it away.
That was borderline through 2nd place.
Oh, wait a minute. That is Hayden Deegan out of this moto. We had him up to 11th place. Not sure if there was a crash. He is standing next to one of the trackside medics, but he might have crashed out of his pro debut. Could be a bike problem. He's putting the helmet back on, though. That's good to see.
Yeah, that's great to see. There's no, you really don't want to quit your very first pro race later on in life. You say, how'd you do your very first pro moto? Well, I fell and quit. Now, I don't think he wants to see that unless he's injured. But we talk about this, and I was talking to you earlier in mentioning it's just like it's so impressive to watch. I mean, Hunter Lawrence right here, if you look at his lap time, a 2:02.6 is his fastest. He did 2:03.7 last lap, 1.1. And then you see Nate Thrasher, who he just passed, was a 2:01 variance to a 2:07. Again, you can't give up 5 and 6 seconds variance, and Hunter Lawrence isn't giving it up, and neither's Jett. I mean, Jett's got the luxury of having a 9-second lead, but Hunter is keeping his lap times just so consistent and charging full time.
Well, about 4 laps ago, Shimoda had caught him. Shimoda was showing him a wheel. It looked almost inevitable that the pass is going to happen, and Hunter was just stingy with it. He actually upped his pace, was determined to not give it up, and then he's been rewarded because Shimoda has now gone down. He's made the move on Thrasher, so he's put a rider between them. There's Deegan off to the side, the helmet back on.
Yeah, that was a tough little section yesterday during the Moto Combine. I mean, our winner, Chance Hymas, almost went down there, as did one of my riders, Evan Ferry, Timmy Ferry's young son, and who finished 2nd overall. But both of them had huge moments there. It was almost a yard sale. So there's a tricky section over there, and these guys are making it look so easy, especially that little hop jump over the face of a really steep jump. And you can't tell, but it's a big drop before that covered bridge. And if you clip that, it's not going to be pretty. And these guys making it look so darn easy, it's making me jealous.
No one makes it look easier than this guy, Jett Lawrence, who just rode around at about 5th early in the moto. It's the definition of letting the race come to you. As I said earlier, it must be nice to know I can just hang out in 5th. I've got so much speed that when I want to go to the front, I could do it. And that's what he did.
Yeah, he's so talented. You just see him when he comes off the top backside of that jump right there. He almost just pushes his legs down. He weights the bike, gets it back on the ground, and it's so effortless. it reminds me of when Jeremy McGrath was at his peak in Supercross, how you saw him hit the big jumps, and he just let the bike absorb up into his, between his legs and up into his crotch area of the bike, and it scrubbed the speed off, and it was reminiscent of his BMX background. So watching Jett is so fun, and you can tell it's just casual fun. He kind of takes his hand off the bar. But the one thing I really like, Jett's really good at looking down the track. He looks at his lines, he looks forward, and again, where you look is where you end up going.
Well, he's going to be going to the podium soon. We've got a half a lap to go. And yeah, if there was any worry about having not led laps in the last 3 races, there's that jump
I'm
talking about.
telling you, that
where
is
he's gone.
That's tricky. He came up right in the deep ruts there, and that's the first time we've seen one of these top elite riders make it look a little sketchy.
Ooh, can you imagine if it had changed like that? The good news is he saved it, and even better, Shimoda, second in points, is back in 5th. This is going to be about a 9-point swing in the series. He needs to gain 13 today to wrap up the title on Shimoda, and he's taken a big step toward doing that.
Yeah, great final corner right here at Ironman Raceway over the finish, and boy,
there it is.
Sweetness.
Moto 1 win for Jett Lawrence, back on the board. Great ride for Hampshire, backing up the performance at Budds Creek, where he won, taking a solid 2nd place. And the Lawrence brothers are back on the podium together again. The drought of Lawrence brothers both on the podium, that was like lasted about a minute, feels like. And here we are back with both of them on the box again.
Yeah, this is a good one right here. And RJ Hampshire, hey, congratulations. Now he's had 3 motos in a row, 1st and 2 seconds. And right, that's my memory serving me right.
You got it.
But great job, because RJ was not in that podium discussion very often in the beginning of the year.
No, he has really turned it around, splitting the Lawrences in this one on the Rockstar Husky. There is Jett Lawrence taking that moto win. Thrasher is going to finish 4th, and Shimoda is 5th. So again, that is, by my calculations, a 9-point swing in the championship. And if Jett can gain 13 today total on Shimoda, title is his. Although his brother Hunter is mathematically part of the title picture as well. But Jett's doing all he can do to score maximum points today.
Rated E for everyone.
Coming into this year, January, I break my pelvis the week of Oakland. The doctor's like, dude, don't walk on it for a month. I remember calling my parents, I'm like, well, I'm done. Like, and it's contract year. I was like, so I just wasted all this. I don't really see a sport that's like it, to be honest with you.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal. The sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us, on the roads that unite us. Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to be the fuel that keeps you firing on all cylinders.
At Robert Yates Racing Engines, we strive for perfection day in and day out. We run E3 spark plug in the NASCAR spec engine.
E3 Diamond Fire technology maximizes the fuel burn for more power and better fuel efficiency.
The spark plug is a key component of the engine. It can make or break you, so it's key that the plugs are robust and have had great success at the track with them. We run E3 spark plugs. What are you running?
Taking care of your car is a responsibility, It ensures the long life of your car and its expensive components. That's why Lucas Oil takes automotive protection so seriously. Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer bonds with motor oil to shield engines from heat and wear. So take pride in caring for your car and pass that pride and knowledge to the next generation for years of smooth, reliable driving on the long road ahead. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With a nationwide network of parts and care, Napa helps you get up and go. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Hey, this is really cool to have Stasek on board this series, building a track for kids to learn the next generation of skills. Not so fun as this. The pro debut for Hayden Deegan ends with a crash. Not sure if he'll be back for the second moto, but the first moto not the way he wanted to end it.
It is not, and it was, hopefully he'll be back.
Yep. So hope he's okay. Let's give you the Lucas Oil race recap real quickly here. So first, Justin Cooper gets bunched and banged around at the start. It's going to be Vohland and Hampshire battling for the whole shot. They leave the door open, and that allows Thrasher to get up to the inside. Nate Thrasher has the whole shot and would lead for a while, but here comes Jett Lawrence, Brock.
Yeah, Jett is just carving his way through these guys in such skillful manner. He does look like a bit of a man amongst boys, but I think he's just buying his time early on.
And there he goes around now. Vohland for the number 2 spot. He gets to Hampshire. Same move he made on Hampshire he makes on Thrasher and takes over the lead, and it would control the pace from there.
And we talked about his eyes being really good at focusing forward and where he was exactly going forward. And Joe Shimoda is second in the championship, washes the front end there in the rut and goes down, and then this just plays right into what Jett Lawrence needed as he takes the win and grabs a big chunk of points.
Yeah, Shimoda would end up 5th. Hunter Lawrence survives that battle with Shimoda and end up 3rd. And Thrasher would finish 4th. Let's send it down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Jett Lawrence, your first moto winner. Now, it's been a minute since you've been up here. Haven't led a lap since Spring Creek. I know that had to probably feel good to get back to winning form, but from my perspective, it looked like you kind of found your flow about mid-race, and then once you got going, you really took it to another level there.
Yeah, I just was just cruising at the start, trying to find my lines, and I found my lines, and I just started to put my head down and just started to click some good lap times off, and just do a good moto, and end up finding my one spot where I could pass. Just made sure I executed every lap when I was trying to make a pass there. So, no, a good moto. Let's hope we can go do the same thing in the second moto.
So Jett Lawrence, he's got to be concerned with the championship a little bit, but I'm telling you, a 19-year-old only knows one thing, and that's winning.
Well, that's certainly the case in that moto. He'll probably be happy to hear about the ground he made up on Shimoda in the standings. Good job by Hunter Lawrence keeping it close with that 3rd place finish in it. And the crowd moving around to get a new vantage point. 4 motos each day. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, perfect facility and day to watch racing.
This place is just absolutely beautiful. Best camping, totally flat. I don't think you need to level your camper, and It's just great. And it's a place to spend a whole weekend with your family and enjoying motocross.
And then we get the hillside so you can get a good view of the track. All right, Jason Thomas is back on the podium. We'll send it back down to him.
RJ Hampshire backing up last week. Pretty solid ride there. You know, I think a lot of people are wondering, was it just a Budds Creek thing? You've been super strong there, but that was a great ride for Ironman.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I've been riding good all year. Just haven't had the starts, and then, man, just struggled with myself pretty bad. Hey, we're a new guy right now. I'm enjoying myself. Happy life back home, and translate to the motos. So huge thanks to my whole Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing team, Fly, Keen's Building, Scott, all the boys that believe in me, man. It's fun whenever you're battling up front and have a shot at winning these things. So, yeah, just happy to be here, and happy we were able to back that up after last weekend.
Oh, RJ Hampshire turning over a new leaf in the last few races, Weech.
Yeah, JT, he has a shot at the overall win again if things bounce his way in Moto 2 with that 2nd place finish. Definitely put himself in good position for it. We've done a little math back here. If Jett Lawrence makes up 4 more points on Shimoda and 2 on his brother Hunter in the second Moto, he'll wrap up the title today. Either way, we're going racing next weekend, and that'll be our season finale. Live from Fox Raceway, Fast Lap qualifying at 1 p.m. and 250s start the day with racing at 4 o'clock And that is all depending on what time zone you're in. That's in California. Going to be a good one, Brock.
It is. I tell you right now, I think Jett's back there telling Hunter, listen, if you get second this moto and I win, I'll let you win at cornhole, because they have some fierce cornhole battles in the pits, in the Honda pits. And so that's all he needs right there. He needs a win. Hunter second, Joe third, championship.
Not quite as lucrative, the cornhole, although you would think it by watching them, but not quite as lucrative.
I
championship.
think a win is a win amongst brothers. I don't care if it's tiddlywinks.
Let's go back to JT.
Hunter Lawrence, it's been a rough and tumble couple of weeks. Lots of crashes, lots of chaos, but that was a great ride. Had to come from the back again, but a little aggression. You could kind of see you taking that out on the other riders a little bit.
I wouldn't say I'm taking aggression out on anyone. I'm just trying to make passes happen. You know, it's tough coming through the pack. Everyone's, you know, pretty relatively close in speed and section, so it makes it tough to pass. But just trying to force them. I knew Joe was behind me, so I had to get going. I didn't want to stall myself and push myself into riding defensive on him on the attack. So, no, happy with it.
Well, there's a lot of talk about this Jett Lawrence championship, but guys, second place is up for grabs, as you guys mentioned. These guys care. Like, that's a big deal to be runner-up in this championship.
Yeah, and he's cut the gap pretty much in half between himself and Shimoda. When you look at the top 10 results of this moto, great job by Thrasher to lead a lot of laps and finish a solid fourth. Cooper is 6th behind Shimoda, Vohland 7th, Kitchen in his return to racing 8th. Perez, another solid top 10, is 9th. And McAdoo, we saw how to crash, but still held on for 10th. That's your first 250 moto. And now the main course, the 450 championship. 1 point in it between Eli Tomac on the 3 and the 23 of